to the Alan Austin Show. Glad to have you back. I, of course, am your host, Alan Austin, and let's get right into it. The NFL had its opening weekend this past weekend, and it went relatively smoothly, except for the fact there were a couple angry fans boycotting the league's stance on social justice. In response, the league simply said, "Oh, come on, no way." Aww. Also, the league caught a little flack for displaying some messages of social justice on the players' helmets so tiny you could barely see it. The league promises to rectify this by displaying messages of unity and hope everywhere at the first Jets playoff game. Elsewhere in the NFL, Tom Brady got off to a losing start with his new franchise, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He plans to take a page out of Patrick Mahomes' book after Mahomes bought the Royals and buy a piece of the Rays in hopes that he can use a quiet place like Tropicana Field during the summer months to get prepared for the new season. In baseball news, billionaire Steve Cohen has moved into his final phase of negotiations to purchase the New York Mets. When asked about the current roster, Cohen replied, "I'm curious to learn more about this Bobby Bonilla fellow we have for the next 12 years. He must be really good." All right, folks. Speaking of baseball, Xavier Scruggs is our guest this evening, former Major League Baseball player, former stud in the KBO. He will be here to join us and play a game of Chance Mount Rushmore, which was inspired by our friends over at the Sports Hit List. My buddy Carl, who works on this show as well, leads that awesome discussion-based group who talk about all things sports. Check them out, the Sports Hit List on YouTube and other social media. Folks, have you ever heard of the Yips? Now, in baseball, in football, basketball, any sport, the yips are when a player kind of forgets how to do what comes so naturally to him. A field goal kicker suddenly can't hit the field goal. A baseball pitcher suddenly can't throw a strike. Famous example, Chuck Knobloch for the Yankees back in the day. Couldn't throw to first. It's the yips. It just happens to you. Well, folks, I'm no exception. I may not be a stud athlete on the field, but at home, I usually get the basic stuff done like that, very crisp, very clean. It just didn't happen for me the other day. Unfortunately, there were cameras there to see it all go down. Take a look. I swung for the fences to get our next guest, Xavier Scruggs. And dang it, if I didn't hit it out of the park. Please enjoy this wonderful game of Chance Mount Rushmore with former Major Leaguer and baseball analyst Xavier Scruggs. The Alan Austin Show happily welcomes Xavier Scruggs to the program. Xavier, former Major League veteran, played over in the KBO and down in Mexico, a baseball man through and through, and we're glad to have you on the show. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, man. It's great to be on here. Excited to see what we get to do here today, but happy to be a part of this.
Awesome. Well, what we've got to do today is we're going to play a game called Chance Mount Rushmore. So usually when people do their Mount Rushmores, they pick the 4 best of something or whatever, but we're going to do it a little differently. I'm going to give you 4 arbitrary questions. These are going to be out of left field, which is another segment we have on the show, but we won't do that tonight. They're going to be random. They're going to be crazy, and we're going to see what you come up with. So afterwards, we'll have your 4 answers, and that'll be your Mount Rushmore, and you'll be the first one to ever do it here on this program. All right.
Awesome. Let's do it.
All right, Xavier. So the first question on your Mount Rushmore, the best sports video game of all time.
Best sports video game of all time. I got to go something that I played for years upon years in my childhood, Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest. That's what I'm going with. I'm a baseball player, love playing that. Give me the big hitters with the big circles that have the big zones so they can hit them out. So that was me, my brother. We played that every day for hours upon hours, Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest.
Awesome. And you're a California kid, correct?
Yeah, San Diego.
So San Diego Padres were your team growing up?
Padres were my team growing up. Tony Gwynn had the huge circle too, so
beautiful.
Always using him. It was good.
Awesome. All right, so the first answer on your Mount Rushmore is Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest, best sports video game of all time. Next question. If you could pick one teammate you've had throughout your entire career and partner with them on a game show, who would it be and what show would you be on?
That's a good question. I would go Giancarlo Stanton and have him be on what's that one with The Rock where they're doing like all the all the like crazy body stuff, like all that. I forget what it's called.
The Titan Games.
The Titan Games, yeah. Give me Giancarlo Stanton for the Titan Games, and we're good. We got it.
All right, that's a good choice. I mean, that man is a mountain within himself, so I'm sure he can climb whatever they throw at him on that. You're no slouch yourself. That'd be quite a dynamic duo. Speaking of dynamic duos, the next question's a bit of a doozy. In a Space Jam kind of situation, what cartoon character would you pick to be your teammate all time on the baseball field?
Cartoon character all time. I gotta go. This is a good one too. I gotta go Popeye, man. There's nothing this dude Popeye can't do. He's gonna hit the homers. He's gonna produce every game. Gonna play defense. I give him a little spinach before the game. He's good to go.
I was going to say he's going to be really good in the clubhouse in terms of the modern medicine and keeping the diet structured correctly. I mean, maybe he's got to lose the pipe, but other than that, he'll fit right in.
Yeah, he'll fit right in. As long as he can perform, if he's smoking the pipe and he's still, able to perform on the field, I'll let some things slide. But I got to go Popeye, the Sailor Man.
Oh, the new Bash Brothers, Xavier Scruggs and Popeye the Sailor Man. I would pay to see that one. All right. Now, your final Mount Rushmore question's a bit of a doozy, okay? I'm going to try to get you to open your mind up. And I just want to let the people know at home that you have not been given these questions ahead of time. There's no way you would have prepped for this one. All right. Out of all the mascots for teams you've played for, which one would you change lives with in real life? Would you become a Marlin? Would you become a Cardinal? Would you become a dinosaur? Out of all the mascots, if you had to be that animal or character for an extended period of time, which would you choose?
Yeah, I'd have to go with the dinosaur easily. NC Dinos, Korea. Man, hey, if I could go back in time and just take over the world and just be a T-Rex or something like that, man. Even a Stegosaurus, whatever we got, man. If I could be a dinosaur, that would be the best thing ever.
Stegosaurus would give you a leg up in baseball because they're covered with plates. So you would be set. You would be set. All
Solid,
right. So
solid.
that's your Mount Rushmore. We've got Ken Griffey Jr. Slugfest, best video game. Giancarlo Stanton on the Titan games for your teammate in game show. We've got Popeye the Sailor Man as your cartoon teammate. And we've got you becoming a dinosaur if you had to change lives with any one of your mascots. So there's your Mount Rushmore here on the Alan Austin Show. Xavier, thank you for playing. Why don't we get into some of what you're doing now? So I know you are dealing with extraordinary athletes. I see it all over your Instagram. The website looks beautiful, pristine. Why don't you tell the people at home about extraordinary athletes?
No, I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it. Yeah, Extraordinary Athletes is something for me that actually stemmed when I was like 7, 8 years old. I kind of knew that I wanted to be a professional athlete. But for me, it was important within my family and my household at the time. My parents were always like, hey, make sure you're focused on your school, make sure you focus on education. We want you to get a college education because you never know what happens with sports. So it kind of stemmed from understanding that you need something outside of sports to make sure that you'll be okay for or set up for success for the rest of your life. And it's almost like a mindset that I want to help ingrain in young athletes to understand that you can use all these life skills that you learn within your sport to be successful outside of your sport. So whether that be learning a routine, learning how to goal set, learning about self-discipline, motivation, just certain things, leadership. A lot of those things we're expected to know as athletes, like right off the bat. Hey, you go be a leader. Well, what does that mean? Let me break that down to you. So that's what I want to do for athletes, give them that environment, whether that be through camps, whether that be through seminars, motivational speakers, workshops. That's what Extraordinary Athletes is doing. And I'm even able to do it via podcast. So that's been a fun thing too, is getting people to come onto my podcast and talk about the things that separate you from being just a normal athlete, but being a great athlete. And those things aren't just in your sport. So it's been an opportunity for me to really share a lot of the things that I've learned along the way to young athletes and even young professional athletes. So it's been an exciting thing, and it got started last year around December. We started with an Extraordinary Skills Challenge, which was a lot of fun. Had MLB players on the same field competing with the young athletes, not just giving them instruction, but actually going out there and doing everything that they were doing alongside with them. So we're just trying to set them up for success and do that any way possible, as many avenues as we can.
That's incredible. I mean, that would have been a dream come true for someone like me, just to share the field with someone I admire and look up to. And that also, people learn early, right? They learn what they're going to be instilled with at a young age. So teenagers, younger, early 20s, those kids learn that if you work hard and you push yourself, you can really, you may not get your top goal, but you'll land among the stars, as the expression goes, and you can
Yeah.
just keep pushing. So that's great that you're instilling that, and that's awesome. And where can they learn more about Extraordinary Athletes?
Yeah. But just to add to your point too, it's actually kind of aligning with something that you want to do in the future too. And it's actually bringing athletes and, fans, supporters, every followers just coming together on the same platform, understanding that athletes are no different than a normal person, having them come on your show and just joke around and play games, like that shows the relationship that, together, like athletes and regular people, quote unquote regular people, are just as similar. So it kind of breaks those walls. A lot of times as athletes, we have walls like in between us and the people outside of the game, but really we're just like one another. So that's something that I'm trying to do, is like break down that wall and show how much athletes and people just outside of the game relate in those senses. So I think it's a good way to do that. And people can find me at xoathletes.com. whether you're a parent of an athlete, whether you're an athlete yourself, professional, amateur, it doesn't matter. We're setting up an opportunity for all of those types of people.
That's awesome. And yeah, I mean, you said it yourself, athletes are real people. And if you know anyone that wants to come on and tell me what cartoon character they'd play with, let me know. I'm sure they're ready for
Oh,
stuff like that. But
yeah, that's
Xavier,
good.
thank you so much. It's been a pleasure to have you on. Thank you for playing along. And I really respect and admire what you do for young athletes and the way you carry yourself as a professional, both on and off the field. So it's been our pleasure here at the Alan Austin Show to have you on as a guest. And thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah. And real quick before we go, you said the Exo Athletes Instagram and website. What about yourself? Where can people find you on
Oh, yeah.
social media?
You can find me at Xavier_Scruggs, Instagram and Twitter. Those are two of the platforms that I try to use the most. And yeah, you can hit me up in the DMs. I answer direct messages, so that's how people get connected a lot of times these days. So let's do it.
I really appreciate it. Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed that. Mr. Scruggs, follow him on social media. He's awesome, so motivational, and the best is yet to come for him in his awesome endeavors. See you next time.